Hello, welcome to Between the Realms. I'm Carol, speaking to you from Lightspring Glen. So much to consider speaking about on this particular recording, which is one some of you may have seen once prior to this for the new and the full moons, all the way back to February. So here we are. The Aries New Moon, just at the end of March. That will be tomorrow, the day beyond this one when I'm taping. And it's in time for what I've been doing, but it has been quite something to figure out what it is I would like to touch upon because of how far we have come in just these 2 weeks since I last spoke with you. So I'm going to begin by simply asking, how are you? How are you all? How are you doing? We have come a long distance in 2 weeks' time. Quite a few of you, including me, are in we are in a quarantine. It's the only word that's coming right to mind. But we are staying home in the midst of all of this for all the right reasons, for health reasons. And so I have a couple cats with whom I get to have as housemates, and we're quite a bit on our own a lot of the time. But there's a different level of it now, so which is not completely unpleasant, but it's different. The world is so much different. So I have some things, as I do on each of these videos, to prompt me to include, and some of them I know I'll get to, and others I've got a bit of a rasp in my throat. It's not something of a discomfort, but you might hear it a little differently than in other videos. So got my glass of water handy if I need to make use of it. So again, I ask, how are you and how are you doing? I hope this is a video maybe in particular that brings you something of particular value in whatever way that is. As you sit and watch it, no doubt, in this particular time frame when you yourself are staying home. We've turned back a little bit to some wintry time. It's not unpleasant, but it's a bit chill, so I've put myself on this warmth to add to this today. So I'm going to begin by acknowledging that we have also come through, before this new moon, just days ago on was it Friday or Saturday? It kind of depends where you are in the world, but we've come through the equinox. Whether it is, if by any chance any of you are watching from the southern hemisphere, it's the autumn equinox, but the great majority of you seeing this, it is the vernal or spring equinox, a time of balance, of hours of light and dark. And I'm going to offer you a little bit of an equinox message from a really lovely woman who lives in Glastonbury. And Jasmine, if you see this, I so appreciate your sharing all that you do in your messages around this. Jasmine's name in full is Jasmine Grace Zahara. I recommend that you attempt to locate her. I will see if there isn't a link to her work that I can add. But in her equinox message, this is particularly relevant, I felt. She says, a great global energy shift in consciousness is underway. As we go through this alchemical process at this powerful time of Ostara, the spring equinox, Also, with the new moon on Tuesday, it is a time of rebirth, reawakening, and deep transformation for the year ahead. Ostara, she tells us more. Whoops, it was blinking into the screensaver. Ostara, a point of perfect balance on the journey through the wheel of the year. Night and day are of equal length and in perfect equilibrium. Dark and light, masculine and feminine, inner and outer in balance. Something that, if you were not paying particular attention, which is neither here nor there, but if your life was quite devoted to other things on that day, that's just what it was for you. We are certainly at times consumed by so very much, but in particular, I would like to say to this is that in the sense of Mother Earth herself and what we have of the wheel of the year and the what it is that we are involved in, even at a time when we're not particularly conscious of it, with all these other things going on. But it was something that we so needed to have to live, all of us, through in this particular time, to be at a place of balance or rebalancing. And as Jasmine says, as we are in this alchemical process at this powerful time of year, there is indeed something extraordinary happening of reawakening, rebirth, and deep transformation. Jan Phillips, a teacher of mine of many, many years, has a wonderful Muse, M-U-S-E letter. I'll put her name and a link below in the details. Says this: evolution is happening to us, through us, and for us. Have no doubt of that, my friends. It is happening to us indeed. It is exquisitely difficult. It is deeply painful at times. It is incredibly disorienting. In these 2 weeks since I spoke with you, I know that in that week immediately following the full moon, when this was, I was going to say imploding, but maybe that is certainly an accurate thing too, but exploding around the COVID-19 and the way all of it around our lives moves so fast. I know I was in shock. It was disorienting. It was very disturbing, and I found it hard to keep my balance. The week that followed next, I'd found some time to journey to family in Boston ahead of, the request on the part of the governor of New York. I live in the state of New York, to ask us to all stay much closer to home, to shelter in place, to hunker down, to do a retreat for ourselves. And the shock of it has moved on a little bit, and I find when I wake up in the morning now, I find myself in a better state of balance. And I know in part it's that the equinox has happened for us, and we are now through, bringing through its beautiful energies of rebalancing along with us. Something I want to share with you in a part of this video is something that, and almost every time, I think I've had this in the background. I may not have said anything about it each time. But what you're looking at, I'll bring it forward to you, is the cover, the ironwork cover on the Chalice Wells cover. It's a huge heavy lid of oak, and this design is on its cover. go to that in just a second to say that the Holy Well in Avalon at Chalice Well, on the day of the equinox, a most beautiful 6-minute or so meditation was broadcast from there. I am not sure if it's available beyond Facebook, but let me tell you, sitting there with this, sitting in my own sunny, it was a beautiful sunny day here on the equinox, but having that video available and listening to the wonderful woman, I don't know her name. It might be Penny, I'm not exactly sure. But the meditation from that sacred well of this incredible healing water, you've heard me talk about this in other videos, was incredibly soothing and healing, absolutely healing. Beyond that, and I don't know where the line of all this that I'm sharing with you will go. So there may be some moments here I'm going to just simply stop and take stock and see where I want to go next. But I will make a link at least to the Facebook page so you can see about that as well. As we are taking our own breaks necessarily from our lives, and for those of us in my age bracket, you might say, so many of us still wonderfully, knock wood, blessedly healthy, but in a place of retirement where we can pace ourselves differently as we go through this time. And when we feel a little knocked back, we can just catch our breath more easily. But there has been an arising that is such a comfort to me, and I hope you too, of the solidarity that we're feeling with one another, because it is touching every single person on earth, every single one of us. In something I read, I may make a reference to it as we go along here. Our communities are coming together in spacious, the social distancing aspect. Our communities are coming together in spacious solidarity. I'd like that so very much, to think about that. My guess is, whether you're a Facebook person or in whatever way you are taking in news and information, you are all aware of the marvelous, beautiful ways people are reaching out to support and help one another. I wrote down the phrase, there are so many new heroes in the world, in our communities, everywhere. They are most certainly our healthcare providers, any and all who are working with those who are touched by this illness to the point of needing medical attention. Beyond the scope of what I can do other than to send light and love. There are cases near to me in my rural community now. There have been, in these last days, not far from me, there have been people passing on deaths caused by this virus. There's no mistaking its scary aspects, you might say. But in and around it, things shut down where we are not, we're not taking part in things socially in groups, to restaurants, to whatever it is we would do in a group. But the heroes, to my mind, beyond these people in the healthcare fields and anything connected with health, are those who are operating those essential services. Grocery store clerks, people working to bring food through the networking that is continuing to provide us with this in distribution. There's really quite I would be incomplete if I attempted to name them all, but you can think of them own in your own thoughts, and all of us sending them gratitude and thanks and telling them that whenever we get the chance to. So another thing I have noticed so much, and I'm so grateful for, is that there is a wealth of resources out there for virtual communities in whatever ways that might be, all the way from musicians who are not able to give concerts and perform in public but are offering house concerts. One of the things I particularly loved hearing on National Public Radio was a high school chorus whose own concert was canceled, and they found a way, this particular choir, to record their voices linking up with their computers to sing, and see if I can come up with the song. I think it was Over the Rainbow. It was beautiful, and it certainly made me so much, when reaching out to one another and offering this sort of sharing of one another. Yo-Yo Ma has begun something with offering his music from home and encouraging others to upload something of their musical sharing. I am contemplating sending in a recording I can make of playing Clair de Lune. So stay tuned. I might have that for the world, as I have my piano to give me joy right here in my own home of Lightspring Glen. The resources of communities. There are spiritual communities. There are gatherings at certain times for connected prayer. The spacious solidarity that is arising, and in this last week, and as more and more of it has come to attention, my sense after the initial scariness and unknown, how big was this going to go? How long was it going to last? How much can we do to keep small businesses and large businesses and people's jobs intact when things come back to a more time of stability? The sense for me has been, and I hope for you too, how the power of our connected caring and solidarity and love for one another is rising and spreading out and bringing such a sense of hope, of maybe it's simply hope, but there is a certain joy in knowing that we are sharing this. I'm going to switch my computer on. Sometimes that screensaver clicking along gets to be a tad distracting, so we'll just swing it around over there. Anyway, probably shouldn't have interrupted what I was going on about at that point, because it certainly is something that has been incredibly reassuring for me. As someone who is not, weaving together my thoughts. Each of us is now in a time of reflection, and I think that's incredibly and deeply important. I can say, and it's really kind of thrown in an odd sort of way, that each of us, I think, is looking for ways, when we found ourselves to a point of stability and renewing what it is our days are going to be, in some kind of putting it back into some kind of order. And I think maybe, hopefully, we've reached that time now. How it is that we can help one another. And I realize now, as I moved into this year and began these videos, there was a certain sense of, why am I doing them? I get nudged by my guides to offer certain work in the world, and this came along. What I've been highly and vibrantly aware of is that there was these set of videos that may well This is my work in the world now that I can offer as something for others. And my side note is this. If you subscribe to my channel, you may have gotten a notice of a whole set of little videos that finally got put together that I don't know if I can relink it to this, who knows, but it essentially is what I see as a virtual Lightspring Glen retreat, because there were, what were there all together? I think there were 11 of them made last summer, tributes to Mary Oliver, Summer Mondays with Mary. And I composed and recorded a video introduction. So I'm offering that as something you might enjoy apart from these, whether you put them on a play right through. Each of the videos was recorded in a place out there in this beautiful land of Lightspring Glen through the summer months. Birds singing, water flowing, dragonflies zipping by. Very peaceful, very serene, and Mary Oliver's poetry woven into all of that. So you will find it there. So, oh my goodness, all right. Yeah, I'm over the 20-minute mark, so I think some of the things that I had kind of in store. I am moving towards the definiteness of making at least a video a week for you. And so I think what I have on my list, I will pull together and present to you in that video. It is connected with the energy of water. And I'll say this briefly as something for you to consider and lead into a video on the power of water and its consciousness, and alluding to the work of Masaru Emoto. But here's something you might consider doing. As water has a consciousness, two things to suggest to you. One is really very straightforward. I keep a glass of water handy as I go in and out of the kitchen, and underneath it, it sits on this word, immunity. Talking to you more in the video, this water is being imbued with immunity, which benefits this physical being known as Carol Omar Behan. So you might consider that, or tape on your water bottle a sticker that says immunity, or joy, or reawakening. The other thing to consider very much is this. Water is something we're using a lot of these days. Turn your hand washing into something of a sacrament. As you wash your hands with water, thank that water. Thank its source. Thank its very beautiful sensation on your hands, for its presence and for its keeping you healthy and whole. Something to take forward into the week. So with that, I am going to wrap this up, wishing you all well. I will be back with a video sometime later this week, much more about water and its consciousness. I am going to leave it there. There was another idea kind of swinging itself forward, but I think I'm just going to hold it back and say thank you for watching. Thank you for being here with me. I am very aware of you out there, and all the more knowing that part of what's going on here in this wide, wide world, is that we're becoming so aware of our unity and our oneness. And it is through the strength of that and the joy and power of our connected hearts and the power of love being released that we will make it through to a place where a world such as we can refashion now is waiting for us. Until next of these videos, or whenever it is you tune in, I wish you very well. Be safe. Take care. Love to you from Lightspring Glen.